Hello, welcome to this next episode of Rounders Connected. And I'm really excited and really pleased to be talking with someone who I've been looking at her work for some time now, and the actual work her does that really targets communities and really makes a difference, particularly in the Southeast Asian community. And Rounders has made such a difference within the work that she does. And she's going to tell us a lot more about it and her relationship with Rounders. So welcome, Rashida, sorry.
Hi, Julia. Just in terms of a bit of an introduction, so my name is Rashida Salloo. I am the founder director of a small organisation in Kirklees called Reconnected Active. So our work is very much about engaging with women and girls from the community to provide them with opportunities to play sport, get healthy, get fitter, and improve their fitness as well. We work predominantly with South Asian women. But having said that, the idea is we provide a safe space for them to get comfortable playing sport, but then we open it up to everyone to bring communities together. So I would say our aims are very much about kind of tackling inactivity, bringing people together, improving mental health, and just getting people to feel happy and healthy and feel a bit more part of the community that they are from.
It's really interesting, isn't it, when you look at, and particularly the demographics of North Kirklees, and when you look at the stats of inactivity of how you, and particularly in the Southeast Asian community, that work's just so needed, isn't it, around getting the community together, feeling part of it, but also getting, as you say, that activity and mental health and well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think sometimes when we look at the inequalities or the numbers where the participation is quite low amongst certain communities, it's not just those numbers that are things to think about. It's about the benefits that people are missing out on because they're not being able to get active. And the barriers around this particular community are not just kind of limited to one or two factors. They can be external in terms of the access to mainstream provision is really difficult, but there are internal barriers in terms of the culture and the understanding of what is possible and what isn't, and all that kind of stuff. So the idea of Registered Active is to kind of break down those barriers, change, kind of do a little bit of an education piece, an awareness piece, and just basically provide spaces where everyone feels comfortable coming and expressing themselves. So you're right. I think it's really needed, particularly in areas where you've also got the background of kind of deprived communities, potential issues, or communities not getting on well with each other, and using sport as a medium to bring people together is just one of the best things that you can do.
It is, and actually, your relationship with Rounders has done that. Do you want to tell us how you got involved with Rounders and what you've been doing with Ready Steady Active with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ready Steady Active is not just about one particular sport. It's about utilizing any sport or activity to be able to engage people. And then in 2015 was when we first started our kind of casual multi-sport sessions. And this was all around getting women that had never thought about playing sports, or the last time they might have played sport would have been at school, at secondary school. And then literally from then they hadn't got involved with kicking a ball or hitting a ball or anything. So the sessions were set up in various community spaces, familiar spaces. So you're looking at community halls, kind of local, kind of green spaces, with a view of bringing women together. Let's try out a number of different sports. Let's try out a little bit of football. Let's try a little bit of tennis, netball, basketball, and rounders. And rounders seem to be that sport that just got picked up really quickly. And I think when we've kind of looked into that in a bit more detail, we found that the sport just offers so many different factors that seems to engage people of all backgrounds and all levels of interest as well. So for us, Rounders just was, yes, we're going to go with this and see where we kind of end up. And you're looking at things like it involves striking a ball. So we found some women were really good at that. It involves fielding, which some women found that they were good at. It involves kind of various different positions around catching, being a backstop or being a bowler. And then there's that element of a team sport and a sport that's not constantly on the go. So there was women could come together and have conversations while they were still playing and celebrate rounders and celebrate each other as well. So what we did, and I think that the kind of mission behind Registered Active is to always push people outside their comfort zone. And that's where we see growth, and that's where we see people change their behavior. So in 2016, we kind of got these women, we were working in four or five different areas We got them to form teams based on friendships that we found in the sessions, based on where they were kind of living. So we got these 4 teams and kind of got them to play in a competitive rounders tournament, which was a massive step up. And there was a bit of hesitancy and a bit of anxiety around this is too quick. But the day went really well. They loved it. The day after, we were getting messages around my legs are absolutely killing because I'm struggling to walk, but I absolutely loved it. And I think that was a catalyst for us to recognize that there is potential here. So the year after, we launched our first Ready Steady Active Rounders League. At that time, we were had adapted the game. So we were kind of playing with a tennis ball. It was indoor version, a slight change in rules. So it was kind of more beginner friendly. So yes, towards 2017, we started the league, 4 teams, went really well. And then this year we had our 8th year of the league.
Wow.
The same teams, the same players are still there, but we've expanded and we've got about 20 to 150 women playing from all areas of West Yorkshire. And not only that, the teams that were here from the start, we've kind of encouraged them to access other leagues as well. So the idea was we would be that step up, that interim, that pathway. And every other year, I'll kind of do a little consultation to say, do you still need us? Have we done our bit of work? And we are still required to offer the league to the women that have still moved on, but they still want that friendly space. But we're also getting a lot of interest from other teams that are recently setting up or coming together, because we're quite values driven. We have kind of values around how we run the league, making sure no matter what background you're from, you are welcome and you will feel safe and you're feeling included. So we have women from South Asian background, Indian, Pakistani, we have women from Black backgrounds, we have people from white backgrounds, we have women from different kind of locations in Batley, we have all sorts of different ages as well, different shapes and sizes. And I think it's very much about, yes, we're competitive on the pitch, but off the pitch, we're all friends and let's help each other.
Yeah, and it's lovely, isn't it? And the fact that you've got people traveling, and I've run a couple of things sort of in Batley, Dewsbury, and you think something's a couple of miles down the road, but they don't travel.
Yeah.
Because they like to stay safe in the community. So the fact that you've got people traveling into other communities is just phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think particularly when you look at some of the teams that we set up initially, like Batley Ninjas, there was a little bit of hand holding to take them to an external league, which we did in 2018, I think it was. I think at that time, Rounders and Leeds was just setting up. So there was a little bit of, I'm not sure I'm ready yet. And I mean, that was the first time I actually captained the team, just so I could get like a number of people to come and experience it. And we did really well. And I think that just gave them a taste of that, what, this is possible. You can take that step. And I think that hand holding is really important, just to kind of open up people to different spaces where they can feel comfortable. And then they've just gone and flourished. They've gone into the leagues. Certain individuals have sat on committees now of other leagues. They've become captains. They've become kind of, they've set up different teams within their own club. They've set up a junior version. They're doing loads of great work into the community as well. So it's definitely been a catalyst to get more kind of physical activity happening.
And what a great example of, you start something small and get them engaged and bought into it, to then see them develop and flourish into other areas. That's just a really lovely example, isn't it? And you must be so proud of it. Is there specific teams or people that you can think of that you think, oh, do you know, that just makes me smile when I think about that?
Yeah, there's so many. And I think it's, I think there's a recognition that everybody's journey is different. And sometimes some people's journey might be a bit more smaller, but it has taken them quite a lot of effort to get there. But I think if I did have to pick, I mean, like the Batley Ninjas, and they're just amazing in the way that they've kind of taken it on board. They've given themselves that accountability of their own team, but also opening up more opportunities for people in the community. There's individuals in the team, Habiba, who I've worked with since she was the age of 9 or 10, who's now, I think, 18, 19, who's become a coach herself. She's captained her first team in the league this year, a range of players that are some of the youngest in the league. And the way that she's mentored them and kind of developed them with the same sort of values that we kind of set up early on as well, it's just, phenomenal to see. So I think it's those stories of individuals that have grown in their personalities more so than got better at the game of rounders, I think.
And it's what it then gives them outside in the world, isn't it?
Yeah,
And what sport can often do, but what you've done
yeah,
within
yeah,
particularly, individuals that are around leadership and
yeah,
communication, and that they can then take out into the world as well, and into jobs,
yeah. No, absolutely. Because I
future
think it's that,
careers.
yeah, because I think it's that belief that sport brings within yourself that you are capable. And I think it's not, I mean, it's not just rounders, but whenever you're kind of looking at sport or team sports, it's that ability to kind of work with each other. It's that ability to lose, but still kind of come back and improve and grow and work with each other and negotiate and, all those kind of bits as well. But the other thing is like quite a number of teams that have been set up, they've got the town in their name. So you've got Battling Ninjas.
Yeah.
And I think that brings that association with that town. It makes you feel proud. It makes you feel like you have something to offer. And I think when you have got potential concerns in the community where people are feel a little bit away from where they were born, or they see certain kind of behavior or certain things happening, it kind of takes them away from feeling like they belong. And I think that's been quite critical to kind of make people feel like they do actually belong. And having Batley or Dewsbury in your name does make a difference.
Yeah, it does really, isn't it? And you haven't stopped there, have you? Because of all the lessons you've learned, you've begun to develop it into a toolkit, haven't you, to help others do similar projects?
Yeah, that's correct. And I think when you speak to a lot of sport providers, the doing bits quite easy because you have to do it and you're passionate and it's people are there waiting for you to kind of set things up. But the evaluation's always the one that's difficult because of this. I think a lot of providers will have stories in their mind that they're carrying around. They've seen all that learning, they've seen all the case studies, but you never have that opportunity to kind of get it written on paper or to use it as a way of sharing and getting other organizations, supporting other organizations. So last year, I approached Rounders England and we then approached Yorkshire Sport Foundation as a way of, can we capture all this stuff? Can we look at how it started? Can we look at the barriers? Can we look at the mechanisms that have worked? And then we worked with an organisation called Shepherd and Moyes, who did the kind of the surveys and the questionnaires and the focus groups and things. And we were able to kind of release a report which involved all the kind of the long report, which had all the kind of detail behind it, but then a toolkit to kind of share with other organisations that are working with these kind of communities, but it could be any other communities. And last year, Rounders England celebrated their 80-year anniversary, and we were quite lucky that we had an invitation to the House of Commons,
Oh, wow.
to the Parliament as well, so to kind of do a bit of a launch there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great. It was just really nice to kind of be able to go there, launch the official report, but also have Battling Ninjas captain Sophia and Habiba alongside to share their story as well.
Oh, that's lovely. And what's the hope with this evaluation? What does that hope to then develop into?
Yeah, so the evaluation was very much about let's capture all the learning that we've done. Let's get it written on a piece of paper, but then let's use that to then share with other organisations around the country that are looking to engage with this community. But it kind of stops them from having to make mistakes or having to spend that additional time to understand what is actually required. And I think when you look at the textbook kind of versions of how you should be working with women or girls, or if you should be working, it's not always the same as in reality. And I think that the idea is just talk to the people that you're trying to engage, offer them what they want, find them some safe spaces. The person that's actually standing in front doing the instructing, they're critical, more so from the emotional intelligence side of instructing as opposed to being a technically good coach. And then also, I suppose it's just kind of around pushing people at the right time outside their comfort zone, to then be able to kind of get them to grow. And everyone's different, but it's just understanding that you need to be mindful of the participant that's in front of you.
Absolutely. And it's about the whole approach, isn't it? But if they're maybe not turning up, there may be a reason that they're not turning up, and being able to help and support them through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the key things that we find is the dynamics of the group that you're working with is critical. Understanding that the person that's coming into your session on the first day and standing at the back of the court, they need to be just as much engaged as a person that's lively and who's been there for a while and has probably taken a bit of control. And it's about pairing the right people together for drills. And once you get that right, because a lot of people, as much as they might like a particular activity, they're not going to attend if they don't like the people that they're working with, or if they're not feeling valued. It's about knowing everyone's name that comes through the door, that kind of stuff. And it is, I think, at the basic level, it is simple things, but it's ensuring that the focus is put on those simple things before you kind of start going down the route of let's get everybody catching well or coordinating well, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's that cohesion, isn't it? As you say, and pairing people right up. It sounds absolutely wonderful. So if people wanted to access this toolkit, where would they be able to get it?
So if they go on to Rounders England's website, I'm definitely sure there's like a search function. So they could probably put in Rounders Toolkit or put Ready Steady Active, and it'll take you to
we'll make sure that it's sort of part and parcel of this video, really.
Yeah.
So when you sort of look, you've mentioned some, obviously the teams and people. Are there any other sort of people you've seen their progression and you think, wow, this is amazing?
Yeah, so one of the slightly separate programs that we ran alongside, and this was a Yorkshire Sport Foundation scheme. At the time, they were running a program called Mum's Team, and the idea was how do we train up women in an informal way to become facilitators of physical activity amongst their peers. And at that time, we had around 10 women that had signed up. And I was a mentor. I kind of delivered the training and kind of just basically showcase that you can support other women that it wasn't kind of a coach or a facilitator or an instructor. Doesn't need to be that person that you have that mental image of. It can be just that person that can facilitate these things. And a number of the captains of, for example, Battling Ninjas, Batgirls, I think at the time we had Iron Maidens, they attended the training, and then because they had that training, I think it gave them that confidence to then become captains and then be able to kind of manage teams and things as well. So I think that was quite a critical part. So it wasn't just around the sessions on its own; it was the element of mentoring and training that was put together with it, and supporting those individuals to be able to take it further. And I think what a number of the individuals, particularly those that were there from early days, recognize that I'm still there. I'm still I can still mentor if you need. So if you've got an issue, just a quick text message, a phone call, and a WhatsApp is more than happy to engage and support them with things that might just be needs a little bit of changing the way that you think about things to be able to kind of manage.
Yeah, well, what an amazing, Ready Steady Active, the work that you're doing, not just with the Rounders, but throughout sport. It's absolutely phenomenal, and you're obviously making a difference to so many lives. Is there anything that you want to add that we've maybe missed?
What would I want to add? I think it's just the way that a lot of the women have taken it up and been able to kind of challenge the perceptions. I think if we were to look at North Kirklees 10 years ago, it's a different space when it comes to female participation within this community. I think the sign on from male allies and father figures, and that's changed as well. Whereas historically, I think there would have been a lot more barriers, as in, what are you doing? This isn't for you. But there's such a strong number of women with really strong personalities. They believe what they wanted to do. They understand the importance of physical activity. And I suppose the biggest change is we've got a number of strong advocates in the community that are increasing opportunities for others. We've got a number of the teams have got social media presence, and that helps as well in terms of getting the images out. And I think it's not just around seeing people of the same kind of background as you, but it's kind of understanding their journeys. So, for example, we've had mums of 4 children that have not been active but have been able to get onto their journey. And also, I think Rounders has become a bit of a gateway. So some women have come in to play Rounders, but then have realised that running is their passion, and they've been able to connect with others that can take them down that route. Or we've had women that have come in through Rounders and then realised that cycling is their thing. So they're still within Rounders, but they've gone on to become kind of do a lot of cycling themselves and become leaders in cycling as well. So it's that journey. And I think what I found is we've just provided a catalyst, I suppose. We've just struck a match and just helped to kind of get things going. And it's great to see. And I think it's great to see those women and young children that are kind of following their parents around because they haven't got childcare, but they're growing up in this space with a view of obviously getting involved at a later day. And we get those kids coming to our children's sessions as well. So it's kind of provide a pathway, I suppose, for everyone in the community.
And as you say, a catalyst. And I love the analogy of strike a match and then watch where it goes. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you ever so much. It's been an absolute joy talking to you and hearing about your work. And I know we're talking about maybe working together in the future, because it's just you're doing so much for people within the community, and if you can offer them that help and support and take it a lot further through that development through sport, but also developing that community, it's absolutely fabulous. Thank you ever so much.
You're welcome. No, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.